All right, so let's look at page 110 here in the Ross textbook and the handout here as well. We deal with, first of all, the cal-perfect conjugation of 3 aleph verbs. When I say 3 aleph, what I mean is that there are 3 root letters of the Hebrew verbal system typically. Usually have verbs with 3 root letters, 3 consonants. Aleph will be the 3rd consonant. So the example here is from the verb matzah, which means to find. Everybody say that with me, matzah. So to find. Now, why do we have a little section in our chapter on 3 aleph verbs? The reason is that 3 aleph verbs have an aleph in them, and aleph is a pesky little guttural consonant that likes to create problems for us. What is the problem with aleph? Aleph is a lousy closer. When the aleph is trying to close a syllable, it gives up and stops functioning as a consonant altogether, and you do not pronounce it anymore. That was what we called quiescing. The aleph quiesces. Okay? When aleph quiesces, it loses its consonantal value, and it ceases to be pronounced. It loses vowel pointing. Remember how we said that all consonants in a Hebrew word will have one of 2 things associated with them, below or right beside them. A vowel or a shava symbol, right? Except the final consonant might not have anything. So when the aleph quiesces, there will be no vowel pointing underneath it, and we're going to treat it like it's not there. If you look at the chart, we want to compare matzah to pakad. You learned pakad as your basic 3rd masculine singular cal-perfect form. What are the vowels under these 2 consonants, roots 1 and 2? What is that little T symbol? Is that a kametz or a kametz katuf? That's a kametz. That's a long A. Pathak is a short A. Pakad, right? So what would I have expected the verb matzah to have for its cal-perfect form? It really should have been matzah with a pathak here, right? Just like pakad, matzah. What does the aleph do, though, when it is in a closing syllable? Is it a good closer or a lousy closer? It's a lousy closer, and it will quiesce. And when it does, it's not going to be pronounced. And what will happen to the short pathak to compensate for the loss of the consonant aleph? It will lengthen. This is what we call compensatory lengthening, and it becomes the long A. Okay? That's really the only big issue here, is that the short pathak lengthens to compensate for the loss of aleph as a consonant. Okay? Now, so let's just look at how this problem is affected by the forms. Pakad, matzah. He appointed, matzah, he found. Right? Matzah is to find. This is one of our new vocabulary words. Pakada, she appointed. Matzah, she found. Do you see any peculiarities in matzah compared to pakada? The is there, but I mean, like, is matzah different in form than pakada? No, they're exactly the same except for the 3 root letters, right? Why is it that there's no problem with the aleph here? Well, the reason is that the aleph has a vowel, right? The kametz hey is the vowel that goes with the aleph. So is the aleph closing a syllable here? No. Aleph has problems when it closes syllables, but not when it opens syllables. So whenever I add a vocalic ending, like ah or oo, the aleph doesn't do anything weird. It's only when it closes. So let's see some other places where it closes. The 2ms form, pakadta. You see how root 3 forms a closed syllable, kad, right? With a silent shiva, pakadta. And then this would have been matzah, silent shiva, pathak, ta, right? Now, so what happens here? The aleph tries to close. Aleph is lousy at closing. What does it do? It quiesces. What happens to the short pathak? It lengthens to compensate. And now, if the aleph is quiescent, it is not pronounced. So what precedes this begad kefat letter tav that would normally have a dagesh lene? Remember, the aleph is not being pronounced. So what's before the tav? A vowel, right? What happens to the dagesh lenes? They fall out. Preceding vowel sounds blow out a dagesh lene. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So it goes away. So matzatha. Matzatha. All right? So pakadta, matzatha. It still has that ring of similarity, but with the fact that the root 3 is now quiescent. Okay, look at 2fs. Pakad is you woman appointed, visited, and you found woman is matzah. Matzah. So what happened here? Again, this would have been a short A, silent shava, tav with a silent shava. Aleph, again, is trying to close. It will, what's that word again called? It will quiesce. The short pathak will lengthen. The tav will lose its dagesh lene because it's preceded by a vowel sound because the aleph isn't pronounced. And when there's no silent, and when there's no dagesh lene here, the silent shava will not be written. It's pronounced as if it were there because you don't pronounce the silent shava anyway, right? But it's spelled a little bit differently. So matzath is you found, woman. Okay? And then pakadti, I visited, and matzathi, I found. Okay? So you see how we're just always going to lose that dagesh lene, and there's no vowel pointing under the aleph because it is quiescent. Let's just go ahead and read the forms on the plural side. Matza'u is like pakadu, they found. Mutzathem, mutzathen is y'all, male and female, found. And then we found matzanu. It's like pakadnu, but with the aleph quiescent, compensatory lengthening. Since noon is not a begad kafat letter, I don't worry about whether there's a dot in it or not, because it's not supposed to have a dot. Okay? All right, good. So that's the problem with 3 aleph verbs.